Making stuff is hard, especially in the entertainment world when there are millions of dollars on the line. And we are going to talk about these disastrous, never-ending, and sometimes dangerous productions. This is The Shit Show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ian. I am joined by Clint.
Hello.
And Ray.
Hello.
And this is It Was a Shit Show. So today is going to be a little bit different. We are still going to be talking about the Snyder Cut, but we're going to be talking about the fandom around it in general and how... So a while back, we did an update on Justice League and all the shit that happened on the movie itself and how it was revived into Zack Snyder's Justice League. But we really didn't get into how the fan campaign of Release the Snyder Cut shaped the narrative. So today, I thought we should try something a little different and discuss how hashtag Release the Snyder Cut fan movement was in of itself a shit show.
So you're talking about the fans, so it's going to be a toxic downer. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toxic male internet nerds. Oh boy.
Your favorite, Jenny Ray.
Get ready for some feminist rage, everybody.
Right now, the Restore the Snyderverse fan movement, we're kind of in this limbo because we don't really know whether or not to continue to feel hope because of some of the comments that Warner Brothers has made lately of sort of like, oh, Zack got to complete his trilogy. What should we maintain hope?
Well, I mean, I guess I would think about it this way. Yes, Warner Brothers has been aggressively anti-Snyder, if you will. And that's, what can you say? What can I say? Like they're not interested in my take. There's that. I don't know what could be done as you go forward other than I think this, the fan movement is so strong and the fan community is so, the intention is so pure, and I really have huge respect for it. And I just, I would hope that, cooler heads would prevail with them and that, they would see that there's this massive fandom that wants more of that, but who knows what they'll do.
Okay, so a recap for a general perspective of Release the Snyder Cut. Because of Snyder's previous films, Watchmen and Batman vs. Superman had longer, considered better director's cuts, it was assumed that Snyder had a much bigger version than what hit theaters in November 2017. Plus, story after story came out about how really troubled the production was. Per Zack Snyder, a fan walked out of the theater and was the first to hashtag Release the Snyder Cut. Like, they just got sick of the movie and they just left.
Really?
And they were the first one to
one
put
douchebag just bailed and was like, release the Snyder Cut.
Whether or not he was a douchebag, I don't know.
Was it Zack Snyder? Was he just like one fan?
Yeah. Allegedly,
Air quotes.
One fan of the Justice League, of the original cut.
Yeah.
He had insider knowledge. He walked out of the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
It was a plant.
Yeah.
Also, it's just that's it's annoying to think, well, because Watchmen's director's cut was good, this one's he probably has a way better movie that he was gonna make. It's like, you don't know that.
And we're gonna dive down into all of that.
I mean, listen, I'm all for a fan of being, I'm all in for being a fan of a director, but people that go in blindly, to any film of any director that they like, automatically having that set opinion that it's going to be amazing, you're not a true movie fan. Yes. I love Steven Spielberg. AI was a piece of shit.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you have a critical eye and can think for yourself. And yeah.
Like Indiana Jones, The Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time. But that sucker's got some flaws. Think about it. If you took Indiana Jones out of the entire story, everything would have played out the exact same way that it did.
Yeah.
So it's a good book end to a comment at the end of this.
Perfect.
Or book. What do you call it? A book start?
A book start, book end. No, they're both bookends.
Cover.
Book because it's the end on both
sides.
It's
the end on both sides of a row of books.
Okay.
I'm just really good at this podcast.
Clint read ahead. He cheated. He read the cliff notes of this.
So late 2017, a fan starts a change.org page, gets nearly 180,000 signatures. A website for SnyderCut.com pops up. All your Zack Snyder news all in one place. January 2018, fans march on Warner Brothers Burbank lot with a big banner, #ReleaseTheSnyderCut. Then the letters and phone calls to the studio start. YouTube videos get dedicated to it. This keeps rolling. Snyder just eggs all of this on by showing images on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said he was like basically Da Vinci coding like on Twitter. Just
Exactly.
like, I'm hiding symbols in artwork.
Exactly.
Nerds.
This is what my Steppenwolf would have looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fans raised $26,000 to put up banners at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, including the plane that did the skywriting thing, or the banner in the sky. They also put up billboards in Times Square during New York Comic-Con.
Wow.
Stars of the movie joined the chorus, and multiple occasions they raised thousands for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Okay,
That's a legitimately
that's cool.
good cause. I was just about to start complaining about like how they're putting their energy towards something so fucking stupid. And it's like, raise that money for like, I don't know, starving children or like AIDS relief, like fucking something.
Yeah.
So, again, we're gonna cover all this. For a lot of people, that's the story. Fans spoke up. Warner Brothers heeded the call.
Yeah.
But what really goes under the radar for a lot of people is how awful and terrible fans were about demanding that this movie be released. So throughout this podcast, I'm going to do a little bit of quoting some people who've written about how the Snyder Cut, the fact that it exists now, is a problem. And
because now fans just think they can get whatever they want.
Essentially.
It's funny when you said that they had a quote, you did air quotes so our audience can see it, a march on the Warner Brothers lot. I immediately thought if I were there, I would have been dressed up like Rorschach out of his costume with the picket that says "The end is nigh." How great would that have
That would
been?
have been so good. You're not in here with me. Or wait, I'm not in here
I'm
with
not
you.
trapped in here with you. You're in with me. He does such a good job at that character.
Yeah.
They talk about good stuff that Zack Snyder has done. It was casting
Jackie Earle Haley.
yeah, as Rorschach. That was brilliant.
What has he been up to these days?
I don't know, Snyder Cut stuff.
He's been marching on Warner Brothers.
So first quote I have here is from Ben Lindbergh from The Ringer.
It's tough for fans to let go of a cause that they feel is righteous and that they may have supplied some sense of purpose and community. Some fans and stans align themselves with fictional universes and the corporations that control them, the way others pull for sports franchises. At this point, it's personal, and it seems as if the fans' fortunes are tied to the brands. Many fans feel ownership over fictional worlds that matter to them, and they bridle when creators breach their implicit pledge to take care of their work.
So fandom in general, right?
Right.
Okay.
And yes, it's not just the Snyder Cut. You see that with everything.
Yes. So we're going to go down a pretty terrifying rabbit hole today.
I am terrified.
I'm so scared.
Okay, to start off, the internet has swallowed an enormous portion of the world into believing conspiracies. It's a real problem that has and still does affect our world in terrifying ways. And a big portion of this started with Gamergate, which was a stupid conspiracy that a female game developer slept with a game reviewer for a better score. And then it was started by a jaded, lying ex-boyfriend, which in turn became a rallying cry for ethics in journalism. But really, it was an excuse to be horribly sexist and send death threats to SJWs, right? From that, you can draw a straight line to the dumb issues, like being pissed that there was an all-female Ghostbusters, or Last Jedi having people of color in it, to the very scary real ones, QAnon, Trump, MAGA, and
Jewish space lasers.
Yes, exactly. Even Steve Bannon has actually said that he knew that he could weaponize those people into his causes.
Yeah.
And then it bubbled all up to the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. So everything is fake. We're all being lied to. But today we're going to stick with Snyder and DC movies. and how terrifying that is even on the internet.
I can only imagine the comments in the YouTube section right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Everything is fake, and we are
Yeah.
all being lied to, and also,
Yeah, any comment to the contrary on this in this video or whatever is kind of just going to prove the point.
will be promptly ignored, like
Yes.
all comments on our
Or read
YouTube
and laughed at.
videos. Right, or read aloud later on this podcast.
Okay, so
we'll
this
just turn into just the trolling podcast,
Yeah.
just to get assholes to comment on our videos.
We're trolling the trolls
Scary.
now.
Yeah.
okay, so this is J.M. Carter.
Ask just about any prominent film critic, YouTube essayist, or member of the entertainment press which fan base is far and away the angriest and most virulent. The answer will almost inevitably be the DCEU fandom.
So an early version, kind of an early sign of what was to come was the swell of people claiming that Marvel paid off critics to trash Batman versus Superman. Because Captain America Civil War got great reviews, and they
Look.
were released very close to each other.
Watch
I'm
both of them. You don't
sorry.
need any bribes.
You need to fucking pay anybody any
I'm not even
kind of money.
I'm not a critic. I'm not a film executive, and I can go in there and be like, yeah, Batman is my favorite comic book character. That movie sucked. Civil War was amazing.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, you all know that I don't even watch these movies, and I think that Civil War is better. No, I've seen Civil War, and it is better.
So, okay, so through interviews where he's asked about the horrible reviews, Zack Snyder starts getting really defensive and feeds this idea that his movies are for fans, not critics. And this is the beginning of a very dangerous idea that critics and naysayers are the other, not on our side. But it's like, can't critics be fans too?
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of point is that to make?
That's the thing is like film critics become film critics because they love film.
Yeah.
They like to analyze them. They understand the importance of film in our culture. And if you get any good critic out there, they're going to look at it not from a fan, from a fan point of view or or a hater point of view. They're going to look at it purely from a critic's point of view. Is this a good movie? Does the story work? Does the acting work? Does the music, does everything work? But then you get fans who are just, so tied up into it because it's something personal to them. Like I said, Batman's my favorite character of all time. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin were hunks of garbage.
Yeah.
And that's not that's not me.
Excuse me.
Sorry, Ray. Sorry. And that's me being a critical fan, I guess, but at the same time it doesn't mean that Batman has been ruined. I mean, yeah, it's just like you ruined, like when people are like, you ruined my childhood or you ruined the franchise. Like, no, they didn't. It's just one bad egg in a bunch of good eggs.
I mean, here's the thing though about making movies for fans and not critics. Like I agree with that actually, because I think that there are a lot of film critics who are like super snooty about movies.
Oh,
and
sure,
it's like
for sure.
sometimes like you just want to go watch a fun movie and you want to, it's, you're escaping. You don't have to have these gritty, realistic, dark, like depressing movies all the time. Like sometimes you want to watch something really that's fun and dumb. But like the bullshit thing about that argument is if it was only like a handful of film critics who were just like, well, the New Yorker film section thought this was a bad movie, then like just like don't fucking worry about it and go roll around in your like millions of dollars.
Yeah, for real.
But the thing is that people who were legitimate fans of the DCEU were like, this movie was a hot flaming pile of fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just critics. It was like normal people like you and Ian who are fans and who are, nerds.
Yeah.
Like you were like, this is a terrible movie.
Well, in case in point to what you were saying about a movie doesn't need to be like some groundbreaking thing to be fun. Like I'll
Right.
talk about this ad nauseum. The new Mortal Kombat movie was awful, but I loved every minute of it. And I've watched it like 4 or 5 times now.
It was
because
good,
it's
awful.
exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be the Schindler's List of Mortal Kombat movies. It was fatalities. It was fights. It was ridiculous characters, with saw hats cutting through vampire women. Like it was exactly what I wanted it to be.
That's all you want it to be.
I don't know if you're going to get into this. Maybe we're kind of touching on it already, but the thing that really just kind of bugs me about this whole thing is that fans of the DCEU, and probably these toxic ones that we're going to be talking about, hold Zack Snyder up to this pedestal of he is the end all be all of DC Comics. And that's just not the truth. And I've said this. I've had this argument with a lot of other people as well, especially like with other comic book adaptations. We're like, well, it wasn't true to the source. It's like, listen, there have been so many reboots within the comic books themselves that this is just another.
What does it matter?
What does it matter? I mean, you can watch Spider-Man's origin as many times as you want. Like the basic story, but like it doesn't matter. Like just watch that movie and enjoy it. And if it's garbage, it's garbage, and move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so former DC Entertainment president Diane Nelson, she was replaced by Walter Hamada, sees the makeup test of Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, where it just kind of showed like a bit of him. And she comments, love it, great story, great actor, specific and strong vision from talented director. What DC should have been doing since Nolan, even if diehard fans struggle with his vision. So it's kind of a current dig at the DCU, but everyone is entitled to their opinions. But Twitter starts jumping down her throat. Here are some of the comments that were not removed for harassment. Nolan left Zack to make Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman in peace, something you, Berg, Chopping Hara, and Judas Johns should have done. It damn good that Chase the Disney Dream blew up in y'all faces. That's one. 2, since Joss Whedon's Justice League was part of your vision, we all knew what your opinion is worth. Nothing. You had a visionary once-in-a-lifetime artist in the middle of creating his masterpiece, and you had to contribute to its butchering. History will remember you accordingly. And here's the third one. I look at you as a snake. You and the other snake, Jeff Johns, don't ever think you did something better. You did shit.
And they're talking about what they did with like what they did with Snyder's Cut doing the theatrical release.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do with Joker, like the movie that was being made. So Nelson just leaves Twitter because she was just getting hounded by all these motherfuckers. When Joker comes out, reviews is about to come out, reviews get published, and those who gave it anything other than a stellar review instantly gets harassed. Direct messages and emails with truly awful vitriol, like death threats, some even threatening to shoot up theaters. And chatter on the dark web grows big enough that there were credible threats in both Oklahoma and Texas theaters.
So DC fans who got upset at anybody who didn't give Joker an amazing review
exactly
went bananas.
Yes.
Or like threatening to like shoot up theaters. That's terrible.
Keep in mind, the movie wasn't even out yet. So how could any of these people know the quality of the movie?
Right.
And the horrible irony of the film itself.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Because you saw it, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, that's not a fucking DCEU movie. I don't give a shit what if they slap makeup on him and that fucking Bruce Wayne is a character. Like that movie has nothing to do with Batman.
I know. Yeah.
They just like dressed it up in a little Batman like suit just to sell more tickets to it. Like that movie could have just been about a man suffering with severe mental health issues, and it would have been the exact same fucking movie.
Absolutely. I remember thinking that exact same thing. You take out the little snippets of Batman isms.
Yeah.
And it's the same movie.
Yep.
But I would say going like back to kind of the topic, like the fact that one of the reasons I don't like that movie is because it's so nihilistic, and it kind of just like the fact that people love it so much is kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like super fans of like The Crow.
or Scarface.
Yeah, yes, that's a better.
I have that poster in my bedroom. You mean a drug lord that was mercifully
murdered?
shot down? Like,
Well, and
It,
like
yeah, it makes you wonder about those people's like. I mean, it's a compelling story, but is that dude really your idol?
yeah. Exactly.
once again though, if that movie didn't have any references to Batman in it, if it had just been an indie drama about mental illness, those people would not give two shits about it.
Yeah,
They would
Yeah, you're
literally
right.
have never watched it. They would have never paid attention to it.
Or they would have been
wouldn't given
overly
a
critical
fuck.
about it.
No, like I don't even think it would have crossed their radar
yeah, it wouldn't
because
even-
like those type of people only pay attention to movies that enter into their sphere of nerddom.
Yeah.
Like
it's a Batman movie. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now I
now
will
I
pay
have to- I have
attention
to
to
pay
it.
attention.
Now I have
Yeah.
to pay attention to it and have an opinion and yell at women on the internet. Like that's
Yeah.
And my opinion's the only one that matters.
yeah. And fuck you if you think different.
Right.
This is from Vanity Fair.
Okay. Drea Letamendi, a clinical psychologist who explores superhero archetypes on the Arkham Sessions podcast, notes that fans get especially aggressive on social media when they feel they've been denied something. What I have observed is an enduring false sense of ownership, which can manifest as abuse, threats, and strong, intense reactions when a story doesn't go their way, she says. Fighting for the unseen cut of the film became a cause. In some quarters, the worst behavior metastasized. They're shouting and people are listening to them. Even if it's negative comments, they're getting positive reinforcement to continue down that path.
So talking about the Snyder Cut again.
Yeah.
So it's just like ye who yells loudest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's totally right. We don't have kids, but you have kids, so I'm
Yeah.
sure that you probably know, like, if your kid is throwing a fit, like, the best course of action is just to kind of, like, let them throw their fit, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
yeah. My 2-year-old.
Yeah.
God love her. I love her. She is a hurricane.
Just keep telling yourself that.
No, and she will. This is how infuriatingly cute she is, because she'll go for 1 minute. She'll be so upset about nothing, and she'll cry and she'll be on the floor, and then we'll just kind of have to like ignore her and let her just kind of like get it out of her system. And the next thing she'll do is she'll come and turn around and she'll be like, "Hi, Dada. I love you, Dada." I'm like, "Oh, you're so goddamn cute."
You're a monster.
Yeah, yeah. But no, like, yeah, it's just like that's the whole point of a timeout, right? Like, okay, you're gonna have a fit. Okay, go and sit in your room or sit on this chair, for 2 minutes.
You're not
And-
going to be listened to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm gonna ignore you for 2 minutes, okay? Okay. And then 2 minutes is up, and she's fine. I was like, "What do you want to watch? Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?" And I go, "Okay."
Oh, she won.
She's like,
Yeah.
Snyder Cut? And you're like, God damn
Oh,
it.
you little. How do you even know about that?
So, okay, over the years since Batman versus Superman, here's a general rundown of what the Snyder cult believe. Okay, so Snyder's films are too complex for critics.
No, not true.
Oh my God.
Have you seen Sucker Punch?
Yeah. Disney and Marvel have ruined comic book movies as they are all formulaic.
So are comic books.
I mean,
Any film critic on Rotten Tomatoes is paid by Disney, and any word against Snyder in any form is an attempt to ruin the DCEU.
like, okay.
I think the DCEU's attempts at films have ruined the DCEU.
Yeah, they did it themselves.
But like like they're acting like it's this fucking like David and Goliath story where like and
Yeah.
listen, look, I know Disney has a fuck ton of money and like they could easily be paying off critics. I'm not saying that they wouldn't or haven't or don't. Like I don't know. But my point is it's like Warner Brothers, that's who makes
just
the
as big.
They're just as big of a fucking company. It's not like some mom and pop shop. Like we're just trying to make Batman movies
Yeah.
over here. It's like
That's a
no,
good
they're
point.
fucking. They're both giant fucking corporations.
Yeah.
Like what are you? Oh, it's just like it's a paid up. It didn't even. Shut up, nerds. Oh, God, this makes me so mad.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm gonna come down hard on nerds tonight.
So,
No, sometimes us nerds need it.
okay, so Jeff Johns gets the most shit on Twitter as he was the guy who was brought on to Justice League during the middle of the shoot to course correct the movie, right, to make it funnier.
No, he was a script doctor.
Well, no, he's kind of head of DC at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so Johns left Twitter in 2019 because after messages like, You will understand not to mess with fans. And the biggest one calling him the snake. The snake that sabotaged and killed Snyder's dream. The snake's mission was to destroy the DCEU. Now, as a reminder, Jeff Johns is a comic writer and has like one of the biggest stamps on DC Comics in the modern era.
Yeah.
So is this really about DC? And
Right. It's kind of going back to what you said, where you were like, they act like Snyder is just like, he made DC. It's like, no, he fucking did not.
No,
he made 2 bad movies in that universe. And then, like, what else the fuck did he make? 300? The one
Watchmen.
Which Watchmen I did like, and Sucker Punch. Like, so he's like, 1 for 5? Like, it's not a great track record.
And so, for better or worse, Ray Fisher keeps that mob very alive and active, especially after he went on that, did that full like tell-all interview with Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, that's the guy who played Cyborg.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of his gripes are justified. A lot of them.
Oh, for sure.
But that's the thing about these fans, though, is I think they latch on to that and kind of mold it into something that's not exactly what Ray Fisher is really about.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's kind of, he is, what's the word? Apostle of Snyder, right?
Yeah.
Like he's tangentially connected to Snyder, so he is a part of the gospel almost, right?
Yeah.
This is Alex Abad Santos from Vox.
The hashtag ReleaseTheSnyderCut movement frames the scenario to make it seem like Warner Brothers is keeping fans from the high-quality superhero movie that they desire. The movement is not simply about wanting a director's cut to be made available. Rather, its supporters actually use the phrase to suggest that Warner Brothers, Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, and even Marvel Entertainment, film critics, and many people in between all have it out for Snyder fans. They don't care whether fans get a good movie out of Justice League. They just care about making money.
So it's kind of like their rallying cry is that Warner Brothers is just pumping this stuff out so they can make money, which is kind of true.
Yeah, they're not wrong.
But at the same time, they don't want to make a shitty movie because if a shitty movie's not going to make money.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, right? It kind of
no
fell on
one's
their faces.
one's goal is to purposely make a shitty movie. Like,
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
one
I
was
always
like,
hate it when people...
let's make a really bad movie just to fuck with Zack Snyder. Like,
Spent
what?
$300 million on doing it.
I always hated it, like, growing up, and you're talking to your friends, like, oh, what movie do you want to see? Like, oh, let's go see this. And then they say, oh, I heard that was supposed to be bad. When they say that phrase, like, and I keep thinking, I tell them, like, no movie is made to supposed to be bad.
Supposed to be bad.
Like, that's funny. The phrasing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I heard it's supposed to be bad. Like, maybe you could say,
I've heard it's bad.
I've heard it's bad.
Yeah.
That's different. It's like, oh, I heard that movie was supposed to be bad. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No movie was ever made to supposed to be bad.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go into more examples of awfulness and how a lot of this stuff just is getting out of control.
Right.
Oh boy, more awfulness.
Okay.
Woo.
So there's a YouTuber named Film Gob posted a video where he photoshopped his head onto the body of a Nazi soldier holding a gun to Marvel Studios' head, Kevin Feige.
He photoshopped his own head onto a Nazi soldier.
Yes.
Soldier?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So you know
Seems
who
like
he
a-
sympathizes with, right?
I'm gonna say Nazis
Yeah.
and Zack Snyder.
And Kevin Feige is a Jewish man, so
Oh, that's terrible.
he also does those kind of videos where they like claim they have a scoop, and it's like total bullshit. Like he said that Jeff Johns forced Affleck out of the DCEU, which was not even remotely true.
That's
Have you seen those pictures of Ben Affleck getting Dunkin' Donuts? That man is just done. Like, he's just fed the fuck up.
No, really.
Like, don't bother him anymore. Leave poor Ben alone.
Yeah.
All the shit he went through. It's funny because there's a big like push after Snyder Cut came out to get Affleck to come back as Batman, right? And to get him to do his movie, the Batman movie that he was going to do, and he was flat out said, he's like, I asked a friend if I should make this movie, and his friend was like, if you do this, you'll drink yourself to death. like because he has like an alcohol problem, and he was just being Batman was just so toxic for himself.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you really want to put yourself through that?
Yeah.
And so he was like,
No.
never mind. You know what? Someone else needs to do this, and he left. But to the fans, it was John's.
It's all a conspiracy.
Some fans, it was all a conspiracy.
Yeah. There's no, like, these people don't have an understanding of Occam's razor. Like, it's just, like, it's always got to be, like, the most complicated. It goes all the way to the top. It's the government. And it's just like, no, just he didn't want to do the movie.
Yeah. The critical thinking skills
of
late is mind-boggling missing.
Well, they can't accept the simple fact that there were just like simple explanations for it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like instead of like, oh, Jeff Johns forced out Affleck because he was the best Batman, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, Affleck just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's simple as that.
It's very simple. It's not like no one's out to get you. The only people who are out to get you right now are the three of us because you're acting the fool.
Yeah.
Oh, we're straight up out to get you.
But this is as far as we go.
If you want to start a conspiracy theory thread about this, go right ahead.
Get us more listeners. Get us more subscribers, please.
Yeah. And, as far as getting out, we just want to put you in the corner for 2 minutes and let you scream it out.
Just scream it out.
Yeah.
And then you can come back.
You can watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Or no, they won't because they don't like the Disney machine.
Yep.
No.
I love the Disney machine. They just released the Darksaber at Galaxy's Edge, and I cannot wait to get back to Disneyland so I can get
You
that
are
thing.
like, seriously, someone is going to latch onto this. They're going to be like, do you guys know how many times they talk about Disney during that podcast? They're totally in Disney's pocket. They're getting backdoor dollars from Disney.
I wish I was getting backdoor Disney dollars.
If
Not
you
like
play,
real money from Disney. I'm talking about the old Disney dollars.
Disney
the Disney
dollars?
current. I wish I had some more of those.
And then they're like, if you listen to episode 27 at 15 minutes and 31 seconds, Clint whispers, Disney, give us money.
Yeah, all the time. I do it all the time. And you know what? Just for you fans, Snyder, give me money.
Yeah. No, but notice that it's not Disney, thank you for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, give me money.
Yeah.
Or just give me an annual pass for free for the rest of my life.
Okay.
As good as gold.
When Kobe Bryant died with 8 others in that helicopter crash, Warner Brothers posted on Twitter about mourning along with the rest of Los Angeles. Top comment: "We love Kobe, so thank you, Warner Brothers, but you're not off the hook. Release the Snyder Cut."
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Come
it's like
on.
people fucking died. Calm down, you guys.
Okay, Snyder cultists believe that Patty Jenkins is riding on Snyder's coattails because he was the one that cast Wonder Woman.
Oh, right. She was the director of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Wonder Woman's?
Yes, but Zack Snyder cast Gal Gadot, right? And that Wonder Woman 1984, before it came out, being bright and colorful was a betrayal to Snyder.
They lived in the 80s, right? Like they know what the 80s were about.
Yeah. So during the press tour,
Oh my God.
a reporter asks about the Snyder Cut to Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. And Gadot says that she hasn't seen it. And Jenkins says nobody did. And cue people calling her a bitch for assuming it doesn't exist. So they all just start jumping on her.
No, she just said no one has seen it.
Yes, exactly. And
Which is a fact.
because all these fans have seen it, right? But even just recently, within the last weeks, Snyder did a thing for Vanity Fair, actually, or something. Anyway, and he was talking about this, and he said that no one actually saw the cut until HBO Max deal started. So she was right.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like where you wish you could just reach out to Snyder and be like, listen, good sir, I'm a fan of a good portion of your work. Could you please tell your fans to just calm the hell down?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We're going to get to that, actually.
Well, I mean, the thing that's funny about like no one having seen the cut, I listened to Script Notes, which is another podcast with John August and Craig Mazin, who are both Hollywood screenwriters. And Craig Mazin is brought in. He did Chernobyl recently, but he did a lot of script doctoring, and like people would bring him kind of on to look at things and watch early cuts and give feedback. Like Weiss and Benioff like brought him in to do an early review of the Game of Thrones pilot. And like you put this quote in the podcast we did about that, where he was very honest about like, oh, this is like a hot pile of garbage. Anyway, so he talked on Script Notes about having seen an early cut of the Snyder Cut. And he was like, it was a different movie. Like, it wasn't. No, he just said it was like very unfinished. Like, it was like it wasn't like there was this cut that existed that they were like hiding, and then they're just like, release it. Like, he had shot it was an unfinished movie that he had to then go finish. And like, so even people who saw early cuts like hadn't actually seen the movie because it wasn't really anything yet.
Yeah,
like, it was just early stuff.
Imagine how different all of this would be if that, as soon as that movement started, release the Snyder Cut, and then Snyder was like, okay, here's what I got, and like, it's just all of it's unfinished. Like, how like fans would be reacting, like,
Never mind.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Oh, wait, actually, we don't like watching 6-hour rough cuts of unfinished CG bullshit. Oh, really? You dumbasses?
yeah. And I mean, I just want to go ahead and make it clear for any people who are want to comment on the YouTube video this. We are fans of DC. Like, Batman is great.
I mean,
Superman.
Listen, speak for yourself.
Okay, fine. I mean, I know I can speak for Ian when we talk about Batman being amazing. Right?
Yes.
Like, we're fans.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So
But
we
this-
don't want these to be terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want them to be terrible. We don't. Batman, it was the best part of Batman versus Superman.
100%.
But that movie's still terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we want these characters to be good. That's why we're just mad that it sucks. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that we're not smart enough to understand it.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, like, I wouldn't say I'm a DCU fan, but I am a Batman fan. And so,
Yeah.
to your point about like, we don't want things to be bad. Of course we don't want things to be bad. And honestly, I'm not even mad about Zack Snyder like trying to get his cut released and trying to like, oh, I want to finish the movie that I started. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not even mad about that. I'm not like, that's not what I'm mad about. I'm just mad that like fans are such entitled assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're just like, we made this happen. And it's like, what?
It's okay. It's okay for things that you like that have film adaptations. It's okay for those things to be bad. Mm-hmm. Like, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3 was not good. Like, and it's okay.
No.
It's okay. Like, because you still have the first Spider-Man, which in hindsight still wasn't
Is
really
it
all that.
okay though? Just kidding.
And it's okay for things that you like to be bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like we also keep on living.
Yeah.
When Matt Reeves signed on to make the Batman, not Ben Affleck, without Ben Affleck, guess what he is now? A snake. James Gunn signing on to do Suicide Squad is a ploy by Disney to steal ideas. Production on the movie took a brief hiatus because Gunn went home to be with his dying dog. Cue people saying that he hopes he dies too.
Aww.
Fuck, guys.
Snyder did an interview with comicbookdebate.com, clearly not vetting the source or just ignoring it because the woman who runs it and did the interview has a long history of pretty vulgar statements on Twitter towards all non-Snyder people, especially John's. The guy that created the original change.org petition, also part of ForSnyderCut.com, turns out he hates ignorant and irrational agendas and beliefs like feminism, social justice, war, Black Lives Matter, political correctness, and religion.
It's a lot of things to hate.
He's against all those things and religion?
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Pickle Lane.
Yeah.
So he hates everything but Zack Snyder.
Progressive, anything that's progressing society, other than religion that's pulling it back.
I don't understand. I don't. Why would you want to be on this side of history?
I know. Well,
know?
it's just like the QAnon stuff, right?
It makes no goddamn sense.
Okay, so
But also, why do you want to be on the side of history that cares? That's like, it's so unimportant.
Yeah.
It's such a stupid thing to care so much about.
yeah. On April 26th, 2021, the new live-action hybrid Tom and Jerry movie launched on HBO Max. But for some users, it actually started playing Zack Snyder's Justice League. And it was just this weird glitch thing that was happening.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Fans reached peak conspiracy, saying this was a ploy by Warner Brothers to discredit Zack Snyder and throw his whole movie under the bus. You know, the one that Warner Brothers just spent another $70 million to satiate entitled fans.
Man, that's a sick burn on Tom and Jerry. What do they have against Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, right?
That's fun shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's cat and mouse shenanigans.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called Geeks and Gamers, and they are very much part of the alt-right radicalized YouTube algorithm.
Gross.
And they and their circle are very anti-social justice, and they are very key into hating The Last Jedi, especially Rose, because an Asian person in their Star Wars movie. Fucking can't believe it, right? And then they have posted a lot of the videos about
So
how much
stupid.
they hate her, and like posting the people around in their circles were posting like videos of taking her toys and yelling really racist shit at him, and then like burning or like throwing it away and stepping on it.
They're not okay with an Asian person being in Star Wars, but Ithlorians and Twi'leks and all these other those are real alien creatures.
Okay, I'm like, everyone should have seen
Wookiees.
my face. Like,
I know,
what
Jerry's like,
the fuck are you talking about?
Yes,
Yeah, like those were fine.
yes, exactly. But guess who they're big fans of?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Zack Snyder.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was like,
So they somehow become a sponsor for a live stream fundraiser for American Foundation of Suicide Prevention because they're huge Snyder fans, right? And
again.
so Snyder joins this fundraiser.
I'm half thinking that maybe they're only doing that to like get close to Snyder because that's something that really hits close to home.
Yeah.
They probably don't even really fucking care.
Exactly.
They're
right?
just like, oh, if we do this as a fundraiser for this association that matters to him, like he'll come be part of our fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can get closer to him. So this was like the day after there was that mass shooter went to all those Atlanta spas and killed a bunch of Asian women.
Yeah.
So Snyder's joins the fundraiser at a certain point, and as soon as he's introduced, he just flat out says, "Hey, I'm not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers." Like unprovoked, like he just straight out just came out and was like, "Hey guys, before we start, I'm against this. I have Asian children. We don't want any part of discrimination. Like this is not what part of this movement is." And so they felt.
Did he just show up to say that and then he like fucking bailed?
No. Then he was there to answer questions and whatnot. But as soon
Okay.
as he joined, he was
okay.
just like, "Hey, we don't want to be associated with them." And then cue them being feel very betrayed. And if you just Google Geek and Gamers, it's just them just talking shit about Snyder now.
They thought he was on their team.
Yeah, they felt like he bit the hand that fed them, right?
Yeah.
Like we're the reason you got your movie out, you know?
Yeah.
No. I mean, that's that self-entitlement that you're talking
Yeah.
about again.
They're just like, we did this. Like people just want to feel special and like they achieved something and like they were part of something. And it's like, sorry, no, you're small and insignificant and don't matter.
Yeah.
And so when you're,
I've come to terms with that and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all doing great over here.
Yeah. Disney's giving us all sorts of money. It's coming out of our ears. We don't even know what to do with it all.
No, I was actually just gonna ask, you would think at some point Zack Snyder would be like, hey, cool, glad you liked the movie. However, not racist / don't want to be associated with any of this bullshit, and like would stop stoking the flames.
You would think that. We're going to get to Snyder at the end.
Okay, because it sounds like he kind of tried to do that, but then it also is bullshit that he's like, hey guys, just want to say that it's not cool what these bros are doing. However, I'm going to still stay here and like do this fundraiser. It's like, no, just fucking leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this was kind of funny, go on that religion mark. This is just some random posts I found that were truly baffling. If you're an atheist and don't believe in higher divine power, you won't understand DC Comics or DCEU films.
What? Okay.
I found that one just like, what?
Clint's just like looking off in rage.
This is such bullshit.
It's like gatekeeping. It's like
Yeah.
you can't enjoy this. I was never raised religious. I have no religion in my bones, and I like DC characters.
Yeah.
Some of
Well,
them.
it's people like they're like co-opting they're co-opting characters and stories that don't have anything to do with their beliefs, right? They're like, if you're a Christian, then you should love Superman. And it's like, well, yeah, like Superman's kind of a Christ figure a little bit, but like
Created by 2 Jewish guys.
right, but
Yeah.
but like it's not this whole thing where it's like you have to be a white Christian male to appreciate the depth of Superman. It's like, what? No, stop co-opting like characters for your weird fucking causes, you
Yeah.
pieces of
Yeah.
shit.
Okay, so but before we're gonna
Pepe Le Pew is a national treasure.
yeah
He's a perv Frenchman.
yeah.
Wait, I thought we'd suddenly like French people? What's happening? It's whiplash.
Yeah.
Just whiplash.
So before we go, we're gonna go down this religion alley for a bit. But
This is gonna. I think this is probably gonna be most interesting to me because
Yeah.
I was religious.
Yeah.
For 30 plus years of my life, and I'm only 36, so I'm only out of the weeds now.
He's a baby
Okay.
apostate.
So
Yeah.
before we do, this is probably the worst comment that I saw in my entire research of all these different things.
Oh my god.
This was the worst one, I thought. Yet you are so ignorant that you actually believe that Disney had no role in Zack's daughter's death. Perhaps they didn't outright kill her, but they did influence her suicide. All so that Kevin Feige can copy Justice League and put his rat Joss Whedon to ruin it.
There-
Like they're
That is
they're
some...
blaming Disney for killing his daughter.
Yes.
That's
That's just like next level fucked up conspiracy.
yeah.
Oh, God. Ugh.
okay.
We're just there's no word like we're all just sitting here in angry silence for like
Listen.
multiple minutes.
Film studios, especially those of Disney and Warner Brothers and the like, they care about money. They care about their bottom line, but they're not. They can get their money by simply making movies. They don't need to go into some like subterfuge, espionage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like brainwashing, double murder, suicide stuff. Like they don't need to do that.
To be honest, like that sounds more complicated. Like that kind
Yeah.
of shit is hard to
Instead
do.
of just a pitch meeting and say, hey, you know
Just
what?
like,
you guys
oh,
remember Lion King?
whoops.
Let's make a live action one.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, you guys remember the Avengers? You know, we're
Yeah.
trying to make this. Hey, Joss Whedon, nerds like him, fan comic. Let's bring him on. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Like that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
not like, hey, let's kill Snyder's daughter. Like what? No, are you
No.
crazy?
Yeah.
Are you insane?
Right.
This is like the
don't
highest
take
my
it.
levels have ever gone on this podcast. So I apologize to our listeners who are like, oh, Clint, you're blowing me out.
And there's also like a portion of this is also like you can be a fan of both.
Yeah, I'm a fan of both.
Yeah. I was not like that big of I think Captain America was like the dumbest character ever
I
until
did
the
not-
movies. And then
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like super loved Captain America now.
I'm the same thing, but with Iron Man. I didn't care for Iron Man at all. 2008's Iron Man came out. I was like, all right, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And same
So-
with Thor. I was like, I didn't care for Thor.
Yeah, and so it's like you can like both. Get over it.
You can like
Anything.
anything.
Yes.
Like it all. Who
Yeah.
gives two shits?
Or like none of it. you
Yeah,
know?
and you're
Or
okay if
just
you don't
like any of it.
Yeah.
go and watch your Twilights or whatever you're into. Who cares?
How dare you? It's
know.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so this is John Rogers. He was the screenwriter of Halle Berry's Catwoman. He coined a term in a blog post in 2004 that he recently reshared. Clint, go ahead.
Fundamentalists, much like fundamentalist religions, men-dominated ideals of, quote, a return to a nostalgic vision of a golden age that never really existed. Fans who violently believe the only valid interpretation of any entertainment source is a dogmatic adherence to their favorite version of that source.
That is 100% exactly what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
I've never heard a more accurate description of anything in my life, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Mark Maron said in his one of his specials, where he's just like, these guys, people like love these characters. The Bible what just ended, and people have been just living their lives based off of this one book. comics just keep going and they just keep writing more stories. Of course they're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if,
my
if
God.
if it's a quasi-religion, you need to have a prophet. This is Joanna Robinson from Vanity Fair. Go ahead, Jenny Ray.
Okay. Fandom campaigns often stem from an idea of ownership, the notion that the viewers know best how a story should be told. This particular fandom, for better or worse, had decided Zack Snyder and only Zack Snyder should be the one to tell the story of the Justice League. After all, it's #ReleaseTheSnyderCut, not #ReleaseTheDirector'sCut.
Very true.
Yeah. And like that's the main problem that I have with Zack Snyder is that he stoked that. Like
Yes.
he fanned those flames super hard, which makes me feel like he has a gigantic ego, and I just can't, like, that kind of shit drives me fucking crazy.
Well, he's probably now like, just imagine this visual of Zack Snyder. You said he fanned the flames, right? He's probably like, this will show Warner Brothers. And then the flames just got huge and it goes, oh shit.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Fire extinguisher.
And yeah, he's trying to just yell at the fire like, I'm not affiliated. I'm not affiliated.
Okay, and this is Jim Carter again, J.M. Carter again.
This perceived slight at Batman versus Superman ultimately led to the near deification of Zack Snyder and his filmography, with his fan collective displaying all the earmarks of a quasi-religious sect, following him blindly, hinging on his every word, trying desperately to convert others to their ideology, firmly believing Snyder was a cinematic prophet who could do no wrong, thus earning them the nickname the Snyder Cult.
Once again,
Okay.
let's list this jabroni's
Okay. So
filmography.
we're going to get to that in a second.
Okay, good.
Okay. So why Zack Snyder, right? Like what is it about it? So it's speaking of like a cult of personality.
Yeah, why is Zack Snyder? Why not Joel Schumacher?
Yeah, exactly. Right. He's very, from everything I've read, he's a very nice guy that people really like him.
Yeah. Oh, and he's super handsome.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good looker.
Don't tell me that. I like shitting on Zack Snyder, okay? I don't want to hear that he's nice because I have to feel bad about it.
Well, he's a gym rat, so.
Yeah, no, you see him in those.
A gym brony.
You see him in those button-up shirts with his vest.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
His rolled up sleeves with his tattoos showing.
Yeah.
Hot
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Clint's just all over the map, and he's like horny one second and like mad the next second.
Oh no, you hot son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You're gonna go have angry sex with Zack Snyder later.
Well, this is perfect. Zack, the cult often refers to him as Zaddy, which is Zack and Daddy.
Zack Daddy.
Oh my, I'm not going that far. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so but for some of the reasons why you were saying fanning the flames. So anytime he talks about the theatrical version, he trashes the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone asked him about if the "Do you bleed" line is going to be in his version. He's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And then he was like tweeting at Subway about his movie being a sandwich with all meat and no cheese. Like, and we did a bunch of comments about how he was like, I'd rather burn the whole fucker down than.
Yeah.
So every time he's talking about it, he's not saying, no, that wasn't my movie. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
He's like, he's just, this is my version. That he goes straight to the attack.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying about that's what I'm saying about the ego. It's not like he was innocent in all this of just like, hey, whoa, guys, I just made a movie and I just wanted to get my movie seen. Like, I respect Joss Whedon. Look, none of us respect Joss Whedon, but he tried hard, but I liked my version better. But like, he's not like this. He was fully like culpable in a lot of this, like,
yes,
like I said, like fanning the flames.
Yeah. And I feel bad for Subway. I mean, I don't like their food, and their bread's not technically bread. But...
Listen, they've had their fair share of controversies.
Yeah, for real.
They're just like, whoa. We don't need to be dragged through the mud again. Listen, we just got rid of Jared.
Yeah, no one's saying release the Jared cut.
Yeah, don't bring us into this.
No. Don't release the Jared cut.
That's awful. That was a bad joke. I apologize.
Okay, so he's also got like...
So like
I broke Ray.
So many terrible jokes. That's right. I'm like, don't say it.
Don't go there. Okay, so Christ metaphors. Anyone? Like,
listen,
how many times Superman does his arms up in the air
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
He does it in both the Man of Steel and the Snyder Cut. And there's the scene in Man of Steel where he's just sitting with the stained glass window of Jesus just standing over him. Like, so there's clearly like the religion attached to it.
Yeah, even Narnia wasn't that like heavy-handed.
Whoa. Well, that's what I said. Like, Superman is a Christ figure, and like that's how the story's always been. They're taking like an archetype and a biblical parable. That's very common. Like, people do that all the time. They take stories from the Bible that are just like classic. They're kind of like fairy tales, basically,
Right.
and they're
Matrix
just like, oh, I'm going to do
Revolutions,
I'm going to do a retelling of this like parable from the Bible, and like add fantastical elements to it and all this shit. So
Okay. This is Aja Romano from Vox.
Snyder is a straight white male creator known for making movies that showcased grimdark, violent, testosterone-fueled fantasies of hypermasculinity. Given that this is the type of film Snyder is beloved by his fans for making, it's not surprising that the Release the Snyder Cut social media campaign was pockmarked with violence. What is surprising is that so many people bought into it as a kind of exciting, important movement instead of what it more practically was, an empty vehicle for harassment.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
okay. So you think of his movies. Watchmen is kind of about, like, he kind of turned it into more of a violent thing, but it's about men being heroes. Man of Steel, heroes. Batman versus Superman, heroes. Sucker Punch, where he's like, I don't understand why everybody didn't get that movie, where it was kind of like he was trying to, the male gaze is disgusting. And it's like, but then you just made a movie about male, like, gazing at women in weird or
Schoolgirl.
schoolgirl
Yeah,
fantasies.
he made a movie that actually like infantilized women and like wrapped it up in like female empowerment, which is worse.
Yeah. And
Like, don't tell me that's a female empowerment film. Like, just don't tell me.
And also
so, and then
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, which it's like more of like less him, right?
Yeah.
But King Among Them, 300, about a bunch of really fit dudes who just go to war, who are all pro-war, who are all going to take care of business, and they don't need anybody else's help, and they're going to handle it all themselves. Like,
Yeah.
See, I like it because it's very pro-Greek. And I'm Greek.
they're not very hairy for Greeks.
Oh, I know. I just had my back laser hair removal yesterday, and it is smooth like a veal cutlet back there.
Slip and slide, everybody.
Yeah.
If anything, I would think you would be like, this isn't realistic to my experience.
It really is. No, it really is not. I mean, they're all fucking British. Michael Fassbender, like, he's not a convincing Greek. He's a convincing Magneto, but not a convincing Greek.
That's very true, yeah.
So, and all these websites, especially like, feed into Snyder's leaks and he just grew the awareness of what he was building, fanning the flames, right?
You have fucking opened my eyes to all of this, especially because like I'm getting like post-traumatic religion stress. Like all these things are coming up now. You're talking about like they look at him as a prophet, and I mean, I don't want to be dramatic and say that I escaped, something horrible. The more I look at it though, like, yeah, the religion that I left is full of false prophets who are, governed by their own money and lust for power and all this other bullshit. And it's just, and the parallels between the two of these groups of like the followers of this and the followers of that are like, they're all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like upsetting me. Damn it, Ian, I came to this podcast to have fun, make jokes,
I came here to make fart jokes, not talk about religion.
Yeah.
Talk about my laser hair removal some more.
You guys haven't even asked what kind of underwear I'm wearing.
Yeah, what are you wearing to talk about?
Oh, I just think it's fucking, what is it? They're 4-leaf clovers.
Oh.
Felt really lucky.
Well.
Nope, not lucky at all.
No.
Not lucky.
Jeez.
So where does this all lead, right? Where is this all going? Clint, this is James Whitbrook from Gizmodo, and this is an article he titled "Justice League's Epilogue is its messiest, most dangerous indulgence." Remember, that's that whole ending sequence with the Joker and Batman and Superman being evil.
Justice League's epilogue offers a similar siren call. Instead of bringing a sense of closure, there's this underlying concern that this potential energy raised by the road to the Snyder Cut has to go somewhere. Now especially bolstered by something all fans can turn to and ask for more of. As the director and his fans alike find themselves reckoning with the toxic aspect of their fellow supporters in the Snyder Cut movement, the opulence of its final bow might become a dangerous tool indeed.
So that became the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse, which already exploded on Twitter.
Yeah.
Demanding that Snyder got to continue his vision of the DCEU.
Which he came out and was like, no.
He kind of started fanning that, kind of like, hey, I don't know, you never know. Like, I guess let's see what the fans want, right? And we'll go into that.
It's so irresponsible.
Like, just stop. Yeah, like
I feel bad about praising his good looks and and like him being a nice guy now, because I guess it's very irresponsible.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's like we've talked about this before, right? Like, we don't know these people. I don't know Zack Snyder. I don't know anything about his character. But like, what you've described to me of his behavior of just stoking this kind of horrible, like you said, vitriol and abuse, and like, if somebody was doing this shit in my name, I would like immediately be like, whoa, listen, no fucking way. And he's just like, either ignored it or like stoked it, or like it's just like,
okay, we're gonna get to what Snyder says about this.
Maybe it's an ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of more along like.
Wait, you mean like ignorance on his part, like he just doesn't know about it, or he's pretending to not know about it?
He's covering his eyes. He got what he wanted.
Like la 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 la.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pretend that all these people who want me to make movies aren't totally racist.
Yeah. I'm not accountable. Yeah.
So, and yet another example of dumb thinking, Snyder cultists started review bombing Godzilla vs. Kong with 1-star reviews saying, until WB restores the Snyderverse, blah, blah, blah. Like, just nonsense. Okay, so James Gunn, who just finished The Suicide Squad and is making a Peacemaker TV show so that's
John Cena's
character in The Suicide Squad. He made a season of TV show for HBO Max, engaged one of these trolls when the guy said Warner Brothers shouldn't be greenlighting Gunn's TV show until they fulfill Snyder's vision. So Gunn fires back, Warner's wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do this. That simple. You can't have it both ways. You either want creators to have power, or you want creators to do only what you want them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good for Gunn.
Yeah. So, of course, this is all lost on them. Keep in mind, Gunn...
What? Snyder? What?
Keep in mind, Gunn has on multiple occasions defended DCEU fans. Even the Snyder Cut movement. He's like, as he says, for every 50 to 75 positive things you get, there's one really terrible thing.
Yeah.
But he does say he gets threats every day about upcoming to this movie, The Suicide Squad, because they're pissed that they're going to kill their favorite character.
Oh, that like they're going to kill, like they're pissed and afraid that Gunn's going to kill their favorite character in The Suicide Squad.
Yes, exactly. So he gets threats. Don't you kill my character?
They know what the word suicide means, right? Like they
read them.
Oh no, because they're God-fearing folks. So they're the smartest.
Do you guys want them to keep making these movies? Because y'all are basically gunning for people to just be like, nobody wants to fucking touch anything in the DCEU because of how toxic it is.
Yeah, 100%. Like, well, he's 100% right. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Right. If I were a filmmaker, I would just be like, nope.
Why would I
touch that? Yeah. I don't want to touch that. That's fucking bullshit. I'm going to go make something else.
Okay, so we've been dancing around this one for a little while. So what does Zack Snyder have to say about any of this?
Yeah, Zack.
So he was playing...
Welcome Zack Snyder onto the podcast, everybody.
Oh, yeah, you get to be Zack Snyder. So
Snyder, give me money.
So he's been playing coy again with the Restore the Snyderverse thing. He's like, you never know. Like the fans kind of want it. We'll see what Warner Brothers says. But Warner Brothers put their foot down. They were like,
Good.
we're doing this Snyder Cut thing and we're moving on, right?
Yeah.
And Snyder definitely started changing his tune.
Warner Brothers is like, you
Zack
guys,
Snyder?
we have at least 6 more Fantastic Beasts movies that we need to make.
Yeah.
We got to get cranking on those bad boys.
I would think about it this way. Yes, Warner Brothers has been aggressively anti-Snyder, if you will, and that's, what can you say? What can I say? Clearly, they're not interested in my take. I don't know what could be done as you go forward other than I think the fan movement is so strong and the fan community is so, the intention is so pure. And I really have huge respect for it.
Nope.
I would hope that cooler heads would prevail with Warner Brothers and that they would see that there is this massive fandom that wants more of it.
Okay. And then here's a second quote from him.
It was cool to do the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and that was fun and everything, but Warner Brothers still tortured me the whole time for whatever reason. They can't help it. I don't know why I'm such a fucking pain in their ass, because I'm not trying to be, honestly.
So again, he's just saying that like the fans want it.
But then in the same breath, he's also, again, stoking the flames by being like, well, they harass me and they don't like me and they're mean to me and da da da. Like, he's basically like, he's like, I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass, but also Warner Brothers is the enemy.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
like, it's totally like double speak. He's
Yes.
absolutely double speaking
Yes.
here.
This is what he said about provoking fans for charity.
They've saved lives, that's a fact. But on the other hand, was it fun to provoke them? For a clickable thing, yes. And they were an easy target, but they continue to raise money.
So he flat out admits that he was fanning those flames, essentially.
Like,
right?
so he was basically like baiting people with stuff so that they would raise money for suicide prevention.
Now-
Like, what?
I know these two are essentially, worlds away. But do you know what happens when you don't, like when you stoke the flames of these psychopaths? You get things like January 6th.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that these angry fans are going to go. I mean, I don't know. They could.
Yeah, you might. This could turn into a Snyder cultist who goes to a theater of
Suicide Squad.
No, Black Widow, because it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
About a
does
power,
something terrible.
Yeah, with a female lead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when Snyder is asked about toxic fandom, he instantly and consistently dismisses this question. He just doesn't believe in the narrative of any of it, and
That's not a thing.
He's like, how could they be bad? They raised all this money. Okay, so this quote just kind of came out. This is where I finally turned on Zack Snyder. I was like, okay, he just wanted to get his movie.
Right.
He was just doing it for himself. He wanted to finish his project. Sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But this quote is where I feel like he is playing a dangerous fucking game. When asked if the Snyder Cut release was a win for toxic fandom, this is what he had to say.
I just think that's sour grapes. We know the people who were the architects of that narrative, and it's pretty obvious what their agenda is. Those are people that I've been held back from confronting by wiser people in the room. Because I'd love to get at some of these characters. Some direct conversation would be nice. Just to say, one, you don't know shit about what you're talking about, and so in what world do you have any credibility to anyone? I would love the opportunity to just say to the world and to fandom in general who these fakers are and what should be done to them or with them. It's just a bunch of BS. In regards to that toxic fandom, or if it's a win for toxic fandom, again, in what world does this toxic fandom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for suicide prevention? How is that toxic fandom? They've probably achieved more than any other fan base.
So we're fakers because we don't believe, we think that they're really mean people and we don't like your movie, and people have created a narrative, and this is us versus them kind of thing that he's doing.
Yeah, this is actually reminding me a lot of like what Trump used to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, where he starts out saying something reasonable and then in the middle there's some weird like I said, double speak where he's just like, well, these fakers, I'd love to tell these fans what to do with them, right? It's a whole
what are we going to do with them? What the fuck does that mean?
That's a Proud Boys stand tall situation.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing.
That's scary. That is such an irresponsible thing to say.
Yeah.
That if you don't like what I'm doing, something needs to be done with you. Like, what the fuck? How about you just made a shitty movie?
Yeah.
Move on.
I mean, and then his whole thing about like, oh, how dare you call them toxic? They raise so much money for suicide prevention. That's great. That doesn't mean that they haven't done toxic, shitty things. Like, there's duality. Like, people can be two things in one, right? Like, you can be sending someone a death threat and you know, calling feminists on the internet bitches and then go like donate money to some cause that you care about. Like, that doesn't preclude you from
I'm sure there's some clan member
just
out there who's planted a fucking tree, right?
yeah.
Going back to the Geeks and Gamers like YouTube channel,
Right.
Like they were a sponsor of that, and then he instantly was like, "No, these guys aren't part of what I'm trying to do." It's like clearly they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolute piece of shit. I mean, it's kind of, that's the sense I've gotten just from all of these conversations and all of these quotes. He just seems like a narcissistic piece of shit, and I just don't have any patience or tolerance for that anymore. Like,
now this makes me I was so excited to see Army of the Dead.
I kind of was too.
I'm not excited anymore.
I kind of was too. I was like, I don't care, Snyder Cut, fuck it. But this movie kind of could be interesting. But that his recent campaign of saying some really kind of pissy stuff is kind of like, oh, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of Tig Notaro stuff. She's super cool and funny, and she's in that movie. It's like, oh, cool, she's in this movie. I really want to see it now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a zombie tiger. Like, it looks really cool.
And you love zombies.
I do love me some good zombie stuff.
didn't they like reshoot Tig's stuff because they took out that one guy who was like a rapist?
Yeah, and she.
So that was a good decision that he made. There's the comedian who played that role originally,
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, was like soliciting underage girls. So they're just like, well, we'll put in Tig. You can't be mad at Tig. Everybody loves her.
Yeah, I love Tig.
This is Charles Pullum Moore from Gizmodo.
Though Snyder stoking his fandom's flames led to charity, it's important to keep in mind that it was also a drawn-out advertising stunt meant to help will an unfinished film into existence. As is usually the case with stunts, there were unintended consequences, in this case, ugly harassment that Snyder has to own also if he wants to take credit for the good that's come out of his work.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
right.
Like
and
100%.
What we've been saying is like he should have from the start being like, guys, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to make this if you guys are going to continue to do this.
This is not what I'm about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like death threats and just saying horrible, awful things. And is it worth it to get your 4-hour slow motion riddled barely better barely better than the theatrical cut, if that? Like, is it worth it to get that out there? I'm really not looking forward to reading any of the YouTube comments now, because I know we're gonna get people
bring it on, motherfuckers.
I mean, I'm not gonna read them, but I can just already tell there's gonna be people on there. Oh my God,
Clint, this quote is so for you.
Okay. Toxic fandoms need oxygen to sustain themselves, and with Zack Snyder's Justice League, Warner Brothers is eagerly pumping the bellows in hopes that fans will subscribe to HBO Max in droves to finally get something that they feel has been unfairly withheld from them. It's a sort of cynicism that would make Jurassic Park proprietor John Hammond feel proud. Yeah, spared no expense. That's a $70 million Tyrannosaurus Rex that's going to fucking eat you on the toilet.
Yep. Oh, man.
What a great parallel, though.
Right? I thought that was pretty good.
That's really fun.
Okay, so before I go into these final quotes, so there were some third-party software that kind of tracked to see if the Snyder Cut was even worth it, like if people actually watched it. Only 22 million watched the movie in its first week. So you would think that all the super fans would watch it right out the gate, right? Mm-hmm. So the first week, only 2.2 million watched it, and only 36% of viewers finished it.
Yeah.
HBO's download rate was like 1.5 million. So at $15 a month, if all 1.5 million were new subscribers, that's only 22 million. And that's 266 million annually, but like that's if they keep it. So
like basically what you're saying is the Snyder Cut made $22 million?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Because that's only if those were new subs.
Yes.
Because I can tell you right now that I pay $15 a month for HBO Max, and it sure as hell was not for the Snyder Cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
So that's the tricky thing. That's the tricky thing about streaming, right? Is that like we talk on the show a lot about box office, right? We're like, this movie cost $400 million and their take was $200 million, and we're like, whoa, that's a flop. But like, you can put any old piece of shit you want on HBO Max and just be like, well, we're just absorbing into the cost of like doing business, and like maybe we'll get a couple new subs out of it, but like we just really need to like feed the content machine so that people keep watching.
So they haven't even made the money back that they spent on.
In theory.
In theory.
But it's kind of like Netflix, where you don't really know where all that money is coming.
Right.
And
it's
that's
a whole
kind of,
like song, like they're tap dancing over here, like don't look
no,
over
really,
there.
no. And what's surprising is they did a report about like how many people jumped in on Mortal Kombat when it came out and Godzilla versus Kong, and they have not said much about Snyder Cut. So they were not even touting numbers. Mm-hmm. They were like, Godzilla versus Kong was our most watched movie that we have ever had, or whatever, like that.
I watched it twice.
Yeah, because it was like a lot of fun. But if you looked at like their numbers based off of all these different parties, it kind of looked like the Snyder Cut didn't move the needle at all.
The funny thing about that too is if you think about it, like I have HBO Max, but only because I have a profile set up under my parents' subscription.
Yeah.
So I did my same thing goes for my brother. Like,
Yeah.
we have both watched the Snyder Cut, and neither of us have paid for it.
Exactly.
Right.
I watched Godzilla versus Kong twice and Mortal Kombat 4 times. I watched the Snyder Cut once, and I watched the flashback sequence a second time.
Yeah.
There are a lot of our friends that we talked to where they were talking to Ian about it, and they're like, "Oh, you actually finished that?" Yes, I got to like part 2 or whatever.
And
people, it's not enjoyable. Like,
I don't know why I was so excited about it too. Like it was leading up to it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, the Snyder Cut. Like I'm really interested." I think it's just because I wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Same with me. Yeah.
You know, I was really interested. I was invested in my interest.
right.
You know, because.
But then there are people out there who probably watched it and deep down were like, "That was a piece of shit," but they can't admit that it was a
Yeah,
piece of
exactly.
shit. It's an Emperor's New Clothes situation where they're just like they have
It was
to
going to be
pretend
great. It was going to be great no matter what.
Yeah, regardless. And they will fucking like fight tooth and nail to prove
100%.
that it was a great movie when like deep down they know it's a hot steaming pile of shit, but like their egos won't let them admit that because it would be embarrassing.
Okay, so these last 3 quotes here. This is, again, Joshua Riviera from Polygon.
At its most toxic, fandom is restrictive. As people nag creators to focus only on recreating the things that fans previously loved, they chase away the new visionaries who would make their favorite thing more vibrant and lasting. They also chase away the ideas that would expand the world they love. No one knew the director of Babe, Pig in the City was a few years away from making one of the most acclaimed action movies of the decade. Fandom is terrific at boosting the things it loves. It's fairly bad at predicting, or for that matter, empowering the things it'll love next.
So that goes right back to what you were saying about why the hell would you make a movie for DC right now?
I wouldn't fucking touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's asking me, but if they did, I'd be like,
well, that's why they got to
no.
get like fearless folks like James Gunn. He's going to get into the weeds with these people on Twitter. He doesn't give a fuck. You know, and he's going to be like, look, I'm a visionary director. You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. You obviously like that. You know, you haven't said any shit about that. There's no release of whatever cut of that. So like, let me do it.
Yeah.
And he does it. I've seen the trailers. Polka Dot Man looks fucking amazing. King Shark is voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
Excellent casting choice.
I'm excited to see it. Am I going to hold reservation on like being
quality?
Yeah, until I see it. Absolutely. I'm not going to get up on some high horse and be like, James Gunn is the best ever. And
he is the Messiah.
And then deep down
It's the
inside, I'm
second
going to be like,
coming.
oh, it was really bad, but I got to stick to my guns or I'm going to look like an asshole.
I got to stick to my gun.
I didn't even try to do that.
Nobody thought that even Guardians was going to be interesting, right? Or that the Russo brothers were going to direct probably the greatest Marvel movie, and let alone the best Avengers movies,
Yeah.
right? Like, nobody knew that was going to happen. Like, they took a chance. Taika on Thor, right? Like, a completely different take on what that could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So being restrictive, why would you enter the fray with this fandom?
Right. I mean, they're basically just as bad as studio heads. We talk all the time
Yeah.
on this podcast about studio heads
Yeah.
who are just like, well, here's how I think a movie should look. And we're just like, let them make the goddamn movie,
Yeah.
you pencil pusher.
I just really
and
hope
it's like,
that this,
that's what fans are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just really hope that this is going to kind of not necessarily be forgotten, because it's never going to be forgotten, especially with the internet, but more along the lines of like people shouting at the clouds about the
Man yells at cloud.
Man yells like
yeah,
that.
they're gonna. I hope it's gonna turn into something like that, as it's kind of done with like the Donner cut of Superman and the Ridley Scott Blade Runner. It's like, okay, yeah, it's out there, it exists.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can watch it and enjoy it, but no one's clamoring over it. No one's like threatening to kill, Harrison Ford over Blade Runner. You
Yeah.
know.
But fandom has changed in
I
those
know.
decades.
I know, and it's so infuriating to be like
Part of that.
part of
fan.
that, because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love these things.
Yeah.
Clint, you gotta change it, man.
Gotta change
You
it from the
gotta go out
inside.
there and make a difference.
Oh, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Okay,
It's
so
attitudes like that, Clint. I'm just kidding.
this is this perfect segue into this next quote for Jenny Ray. This is Joanna Robinson again from Vanity Fair.
Despite the good they have done raising money for a worthy cause, it's hard to ignore the toxic side of this fandom, which has targeted and harassed critics who have dared even tweet criticisms about Snyder's work. I have been told to kill myself on countless occasions by Twitter accounts with either Superman or Batman logos. When the fandom becomes identity, every negative review seems like a personal attack. In not only giving over to these fans, but using their language, #ReleaseTheSnyderCut in its official announcement, HBO Max has given legitimacy to all actions of this fandom.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's shooting themselves in the foot right there.
Yeah.
But like,
Making the T-Rex, the Velociraptor, right?
yeah.
And there have been plenty of legitimate fan campaigns over the decades of film and TV, especially like TV, like rescuing TV shows from being canceled and stuff like that. And,
Right.
Yeah, Futurama.
And
Oh my God,
but
Futurama's
by
so
and
good.
large, they fail. Like they don't work. So is the lesson that toxic fandom is more effective? Julia Alexander from The Verge.
For both the positive campaigners who are happy to finally have Snyder's version available to watch, and the negative spouting trolls who can claim victory on social media and continue fighting with people, they got what they wanted. Their tactics worked. One of the largest corporations in the United States gave in to demands from anonymous people. That's not something people forget, and it only incentivizes a very specific type of action further.
So
Yeah.
was it worth it?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
I'm going to say
I mean, no.
on two different perspectives. Was it worth it for the film to be made for me to see? No. Because it's not much better than the theatrical release, if better at all.
I mean, y'all know I didn't see either, so no.
I mean, I was just so goddamn annoyed at how every single scene was a slow motion scene. Like, it was boring. So
that's why it was 4 hours long.
yeah. So from that
Everybody.
perspective, was it worth it to release this movie? No. Another perspective, was it worth it to release this movie for fans to get what they want? No. Because it's just sparked hatred, unwarranted entitlement,
Yep.
and that's just kind of like the horrors of the internet as well, is that people have this anonymity. They can go out and say whatever the hell they want and not really feel any personal consequences. Yet deep down inside, and if you believe in a heaven, there's a special place in hell for assholes like this who threaten people like the gal who played Rose, in Star Wars. For people who have vilified Disney and spouting conspiracies that they have somehow been involved in the death of Snyder's daughter, like that. There's a special place in hell reserved for these people. And to ask if it's worth it, no, because it gives these people a voice. It gives these people, in some ways legitimacy, which is horrifying.
Yeah.
It's hard because I think going back to Joanna Robinson's quote where she said, when fandom becomes identity, like these stories and characters really, really matter to people. Like I've had very intense fandoms. Like I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. And like you feel a connection with
They're
that.
part of you.
Yeah, it's a part of you. It's a part of your childhood. You get nostalgic about things. So like
I was wearing a Batman shirt the other day.
yeah. So like I understand like fans like on the internet like like talking about things blah blah blah, but like like when you start giving credence to more of like the fringe beliefs or because like there could be like 4 people having like a perfectly reasonable discussion about why they want the Snyder Cut to come out, and then one asshole comes in and is like, well, Disney killed Snyder's daughter, and then just like back slowly out of the room, and then those people are like, holy shit, really? Like, and it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. And HBO Max and Snyder are both just like, by using that hashtag that was started by trolls and by him like dropping those double speak hints and all of that, they're feeding a fandom that's not healthy. And like they don't need to, because I think there are legitimately good, decent fans out there who just want to see people make stuff that they love.
And if these people were to take a moment, review their life, and ask themselves, is my life worse or better for this movie having been in existence? The answer is no. It does not affect your life as a human being at all.
At all, yeah.
Like if you took Star Wars away from me and it never existed, I would still be just as happy and content as I am with the other fandoms that I'm a part of. And to an even greater extent, my lovely family and friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it in the long run, it's just media for you to consume and enjoy. It's an escape. It should never be a part of.
It's not a cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even as filmmakers, they still do it because it's something that they love and it's their passion, and that is great. And I wish I was among them because I love movies. I wish I would be making movies in some way, shape, or form. But it's not worth it to become a villain.
Not worth it.
100%. I said on the last one that there was part of me that was kind of like glad to see like a different version. Like the film history part of me was very happy. But after I did all this research, I was just kind of like, it was just such a dark hole to kind of read all this stuff over and over again. Just some of these tweets are just like, Jesus Christ, people.
Yeah.
Like, get a hold of reality.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the people that are now running for Congress and stuff. I mean, these people are
that's the thing is they're like, emboldened. They have been emboldened and they've been empowered.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, my radical fringe beliefs aren't fringe anymore because I found this community on the internet who believes the same things that I believe. So therefore, like, I don't have to be embarrassed talking about things that are like batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah. And it's one thing for like QAnon and stuff like that, and the insurrection and stuff that people were like have been by and large just lied to, and just they've been swallowed up into conspiracy theories that a lot of them just don't know any better. And for some, like, I guess in their minds, to be fair to them, like they thought that they were fighting for what they thought was right. These are movies. These are like fucking just move on.
Yeah.
I have never loved a movie so much or been such a fan of something as to feel like I should send somebody a death threat. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the fucking leap that, I mean, like, I would do it jokingly, like, to you. I'd be like, fuck you, Clint, I will kill you if you don't love Harry Potter. Obviously.
Well, luckily I do.
Obviously.
So.
But I mean, like, I would never just be like, I'm sorry, what? You didn't love Shaun of the Dead? Death threat. Like, what is
go die.
What is broken in your mind that like you just think that's okay?
Yeah. I like you were saying, me and Jenny Ray absolutely love Lord of the Rings. I fucking love Lord of the Rings. And the Hobbits aren't good.
No.
And I'm not burning Warner Brothers down for that one.
I know.
I'm not coming after. I'm not saying that Peter Jackson needs to die or anybody that gave it a bad review.
No,
I didn't like it either.
Everybody just calm the fuck down. Yeah. Like you said, they're movies. They don't have to be your cause. But to go back to what you were saying though about like, would your life have been any different? That's the thing is I think a lot of these people like they're spending so much time online because they're depressed or sad or lonely, and they find this community and they find something that's like meaningful, and they just kind of get like wrapped up in this whole thing. And so like I don't like I think at some point it stops being about the movie and it's like it just becomes more about like I'm part of something. Like I feel connected to something. And it's like, well, like I don't know. I don't know how to like fix that problem for people, but it's just like,
I mean, because you do find good fandoms in those.
know?
You do find good communities in those fandoms. Like
Yeah,
I follow a whole slew of YouTubers who are super positive fandoms of Star Wars, because Star Wars is another toxic fandom that you.
100%.
Star Wars is another fandom where you can find toxic.
People.
Branches.
That one's pretty dark too.
Yeah, but I found a bunch of YouTubers who are super like, hey, like Star Wars? We like Star Wars too. You don't like this part about it? That's okay. We could all still like it for, because it's just more Star Wars, And those are the ones that I follow. Because it makes me feel good about liking Solo. I like Solo. It's not a great movie, but I like it.
It makes you feel good about being a human and liking things.
Yeah.
Like, and
but it's like what you were saying though too, like I just wish that I could get all these people in a collective space and just say, look, you're all good people deep down inside. I know you are. Get some real help. And
go sit in the corner.
Yeah.
And scream it out.
Yeah. Because
here's a therapist.
It's not
talk to this therapist.
I don't know. Like in the last 2 or 3 years, I've had this, paradigm shift where I've gone from, someone who was an apologist for a lot of horrible ways of thinking. And I've shifted that, and I feel so much better, not only about the world around me, but about myself. That I feel like it's after having made that paradigm shift, it's gotten a lot easier for me to really love and accept other people, regardless of their background or their identities. And I feel like that's a good way to be, and that's a good place to go and to progress towards.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like say things without saying things.
Yeah.
Pun intended. Amen.
Wink, 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 wink. Lots of winking happening that you all can't see. To go back to the religious point, like I'm not surprised that a lot of these people in this toxic fandom are religious or kind of like they're like attacking people by using like religious allegories and like calling people atheists who like aren't aligned with Snyder when like none of this has anything to do with religion, like in the slightest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me that the people who are kind of on like the Snyder side or like the toxic side of this are religious, because religious people tend to be more intolerant. Like deeply religious people tend to be more intolerant because religion teaches them to be that way.
Yeah. Oh, I could do a whole another hour on all of this. I really could.
Well, thank you for indulging me on this kind of different way of doing in the podcast.
I don't want to speak for Ian, but we promise next time we could be a lot more yucks.
Will be, right? Well, honestly, I was like, I don't want to fucking talk about this movie for 2 hours. But I'm like, I do want to talk about feminism on the internet and all kinds of others. Like, I love talking about this kind of stuff. So this was fun.
I'm really glad that we did this because it really is. It really has been cathartic for me. Mm-hmm. And it's been a really good conversation, and it makes me feel better about myself.
Now let's totally flip this around and become hypocrites and talk about Sonic the Hedgehog and how that was a very good decision by fans.
Oh yeah, it absolutely was
to change that movie. Next time on It Was a Shit Show.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, quite literally fan-led changes.
Oh! Sneak peek.
We're so good at this podcast.
But not next time. I'm not ready for it.
God, we're crushing this podcasting thing. Crushing it.